Hey, what's happening? Jason Woodland here once again with Always the Journey TV. Rock and rolling with episode or interview, as the case may be, number 18. 18 is one of my favorite numbers, so I'm really excited to have a very dear friend on today. I'd like to give a business shout out here in Utah to our friends over at Two Man Movers. Mike Simmons is a very dear friend, and these guys do amazing work, and they make sure they take care of biz. That is not a paid advertisement. That's just shouting out some friends out there in the community. So anyway, thanks again very much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate your support, watching these fun interviews with all these amazing people. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel and throw us a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Also, make sure if you've got any questions or anything, throw them in the comments below, or just shout out and say how you like the content. And if you have any questions, we'll be sure to jump on that as soon as possible. So anyway, today I've got a very good friend on as my guest. His name is Ivan Gonzalez. He is honestly one of the biggest hearted people and the most charitable people I know. And I know a lot of wonderful, big-hearted people. We've had a lot of really fun experiences over the last little while here, sharing ideas about fundraising, events, and that kind of stuff. And we've also been on the phone sort of cultivating and building some really cool things over the last while. And one of those was with a very dear friend, Trent, who we were able to try to help this family get some tickets to go see, let's see here, Post Malone. See, told you, Ivan, that I'd mess up. So anyway, we're just going to continue rolling and having a good time. My man, Ivan, he's got his bachelor's degree from the Pennsylvania State University, and he also has a nonprofit certificate from University of Utah. He also ran a very successful DJ business for 16 years that he started all the way back in high school. Ivan loves entertainment. He loves live events, sports, and theater. So, of course, he loves all the things that we virtually haven't been able to do at all in 2020. So, he's worked for over 10 years in 3 different nonprofit organizations, the Bell Socialization Services, Utah Youth Village, and the Ronald McDonald House in Salt Lake City. Still, he does amazing work part-time at the Utah Youth Village. The organization we're going to be speaking about in more detail today is one that he started, a nonprofit called Best Seat in the House. He started that in 2018. I love this organization. Not only do they do really cool yearly fundraisers, but they get involved in the community on such a granular level, and we're going to be able to learn a lot more in detail about those things. So I'm excited about that. 2018, they helped serve 600 kids. 2019, they served over 3,000 kids, and they were on track to shatter that record this year until COVID hit. But either way, he provides events for disadvantaged kids. The organization of Best Seat in the House, they focus their efforts on serving kids with cancer and other life-altering conditions, foster care kids, refugee kids, and kids in poverty and special needs kids. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to introduce my dear friend, Ivan Gonzalez. What's up?
How's it going, guys?
So good to see you, my man.
So good to see you, man.
So how funny is that right before I was busting your chops saying you're going to mess up, and then I mess up.
True. But it's authentic, though. So.
You just got to roll with the punches and have a good time, you know?
Exactly.
So tell me, like, how's your day going?
Oh, it's going good. Going good.
Nice.
How about you?
It's going awesome. It's been ultra productive. We've got the holiday coming up, and just, yeah, I'm excited to be talking to you and having my viewers get a more detailed understanding of your organization and what you do and how it works and that kind of stuff. But I mean, just for fun, so you ran a DJ business for a long time. Like, what kind of events were you doing a lot of?
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't know my dad was a DJ growing up, and going to church. The dancers weren't very fun at the church dances.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I love music, and I did a dance, and it was just awesome. And then out of the blue, my dad just like he's like, hey, here's this mixer. I think you would need it. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. Not an average person will know. I'm like, oh, I didn't think of it until like years later. My uncle was like, well, your dad was a DJ. And I'm like, what? So yeah, I
Wow.
just kind of started it and it kind of exploded back in Pennsylvania, and it was awesome. It helped pay for me to get through college, and it was a good side gig. And but yeah, I did weddings, birthday parties, you name it, whatever event, fundraiser or what, I did it, and I loved it. I loved it, but I gave it up when I started my nonprofit because I just couldn't do it all.
Yeah.
I
You,
still
you,
have the equipment for the charity, so I'll DJ my charity events if I need to.
oh, that's way cool. Okay. So instead of working 100 hours a week, you decided to only work part-time at like 70 hours a week.
Exactly. And I laugh but it's technically true. I feel like I work 70 hours.
Without a doubt. Uh,
Uh,
the amount of work that you put into the community is inspiring. I
Thank
mean,
you.
straight up, it's inspiring. And I know you've got an amazing following, and there's a lot of really just cool supporters out there for your organization. And it's so fun when you do your events and you can see the smiles on these kids' faces. That event that we were helping out with down at the Ronald McDonald House, and just seeing the kids just like light up, and just seeing some of the other adults that are dressed up, and we're going to talk about all that. I'm just excited to be talking to you about this stuff. But Ivan, I want to learn what inspired you to get involved, both in nonprofit space all to begin with, but then also what inspired you to start Best Seat in the House as well.
Yeah. So I went to Penn State, as you mentioned, and I graduated end of 2009, right when the housing market crashed. So jobs were hard to find. And it's kind of one of those, a lot of people say it's like, well, I don't have experience because I need a job to get experience, but I can't get a job because I don't have experience. So I was definitely in that boat, and had a few part-time jobs. And I was just at a family dinner, friends of the family dinner. And one of the ladies, a good friend, she just became the finance director at a nonprofit, Bell Socialization Services in York. And she's like, hey, well, I can't give you a job, but I can give you an internship, get some hours. I'm like, yeah, anything, and I honestly never thought of nonprofit work in college. I have a finance degree. And so anyway, I went there and loved it for about 3 months, that summer. And she's like, she loved me. And she's like, well, we created a position for you to stay on. I was like, sweet.
Nice.
And I was like, sweet. And it didn't pay very well, but it was a job. And that's kind of a little bit with the nonprofit world. They don't pay the best, but they have great benefits. And the cause is always a big part of working there. So I worked there for a few years, and then I moved here to Utah, and just loved the nonprofit world, that I wanted to stay in that realm. So I got a job here at Utah Youth Village and then Ronald McDonald House, and just continue to love it. I just love kids, and volunteered or work at a bunch here in Salt Lake. So that's kind of how I got into the nonprofit world, as you would say.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So then tell me now a little bit about the inspiration to start Best Seat in the House. Like, how did that transition take place?
Yeah, so I was working at Ronald McDonald House. I just been there for a couple months, and I'm not rich in any way, but I was like, I'm single, and I have kind of everything I kind of want, besides, a really big house or fancy car or something. But I was like, I kind of like, one of my friends like, hey, what do you want to do for your birthday? I'm like, I guess we can go to dinner or something. But starting to work at Ronald McDonald House, I was talking to a coworker of mine, and she's like, why don't we do like a carnival? And I was like, what do you mean, like a birthday carnival? And she's like, yeah, for the kids. And I was like, that's awesome. And as you mentioned, I love entertainment, live events, and I was like, okay, so I got my friends to chip in, and we bought toys and presents, and then we got food, burgers, hot dogs, and I got some you wouldn't say normal carnival games. I just got some outdoor playground games like cornhole and stuff like that, and we made
So
them.
you didn't bring in a Ferris wheel?
No, I didn't bring Ferris wheel. But yeah, so we did that event, and it was a blast. I still think about it all the time. I loved it, and I met this amazing kid who just started going to the hospital that day. He came down from Idaho. He was being treated for leukemia. His name is Jake, and his first day at Ronald McDonald House was my birthday carnival, and he had a Red Sox jersey on, and I love the Red Sox. I'm a big Cubs and Red Sox fan, and so we hit it off pretty well. And after a few weeks, we became friends, and other families were like, that was awesome. That was so much fun. And then I just kept noticing, a lot of families there and at the hospital, you're going through cancer or other illness battles. It gets really boring. I mean, primaries is amazing. They do have like movies and games and stuff like that. But, after 6 months, 9 months, being in a hospital bed, it sucks.
Yeah.
So mostly with Jake, he loved country music and a lot of stuff that we liked. We had similar likes, and he's 12 years old. So I had season tickets to the Jazz at the time. So I gave him a couple of my tickets to go to the game with his mom, other things, and it just kind of started snowballing that year. And I just kept getting this itch, like I want to do another event there at Ron McDonald House. So we did a luau, and we did makeover night and other events. And for about a year and a half, I just did this on my own budget. And I was like, and I kept getting more requests, and I volunteer at other nonprofits here in Salt Lake. And I'm like, oh, I could totally do this at other nonprofits too. But then I was like, I can't keep doing this on my budget.
Yeah.
This is just a side thing. And I'm like, but it's needed, I see a need. So basically the end of 2017, like December 30th, we formed the Best Eating Out nonprofit. So I don't count 2017 as our first year because there was one day in 2017 we were an official nonprofit. So 2018, we hit the ball rolling and served 600 kids, like you mentioned. And it was awesome. There's a lot of ups and downs with doing a nonprofit. Oh, yeah. And I've met with some people that want to start a nonprofit, and I asked them, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to do this? But I'm so passionate that the downs I get through with the ups, but and last year I really just like hit it out of the ballpark. I was just like killing it. And some people said I was doing too much, that I just try and slow it down. But yeah, 3,000 kids. I couldn't believe it after I did the numbers. And it's across a bunch of organizations that we partner with. Because we're such a small nonprofit, we don't have our own location or any of that stuff. So we partner with other nonprofits here in Salt Lake so that we can bring the events to the kids, and also partner with them to know, with our limited resources, we can actually directly hit the kids and families that need it the most. Right. And it kind of go off of that. So like, 2018, we helped 20 kids with what we call VIP experiences, like meet and greets and whatnot. And then, trying to build that up.
What that looks like. So
Sorry,
meet and greets. Tell us a little bit more about the experience of what the meet and greet is, some examples, let's say.
Yeah. So I have a good friend who is very involved with FanX. Used to be Salt Lake Comic-Con, but they had to change their name. And we would get tickets to their event every year. And I just met we met at a mutual event, a mutual friends event, and we were just talking. He's like, "Hey, we should totally do like meet and greets, and because basically our what I call our VIP experiences is like more special one-on-one experiences. It's very similar to Make-A-Wish, but we and that's more focused on our cancer and our uh, kids with illnesses, battles, to just make it a little bit more hope and joy because fighting cancer and whatnot is so hard and depressing for not just the kid but the family, the siblings and the mom and the dad, that we give them this night out and just like forget about their troubles and just enjoy something. So a lot of our meet and greets happen with sports or celebrities with FanX, or Real Salt Lake's a huge sponsor partner of ours. I am still amazed by what they are able to do for us, and they've really bought into our our cause. So basically, around FanX, we'll plan events based on what celebrities are willing to be involved. But a big one that we did with Ronald McDonald House and primaries is we hosted Hayden Christensen, aka Anakin Skywalker from the Star Wars movies, and then the Emperor. I can't remember his real name on the top of my head, but we hosted them both at the family room, the Ronald McDonald House family room up at primaries, and we had a bunch. It made sense. We had like a ton of families come out, and you got to get pictures and autographs from Hayden and the Emperor. And it was a really touching moment, to the point that Hayden actually had to step outside to another room to console himself because he was just really touched by all the kids there. But then also a big one we couldn't, with COVID, we couldn't do, but in years past, we've had a private meet and greet with Real Salt Lake players.
Wow.
It's always awesome.
Yeah.
The players are really warm to the kids, and they spend a good amount of time talking to the kids and just being with them. So it's awesome. So those are kind of our big highlights ones, but we try and do as many as we can based on what the kids want. But yeah.
That is awesome, man. Thank you so much for going into more detail about some of that. And then as far as the organization, you are an actual 501c3 organization. Is that correct?
Yes, we are a 501c3.
Okay. So someone can donate and potentially get a tax write-off depending on what their tax situation is. And of course, if they talk to their accountant and all that kind of stuff. Those are all of my disclaimers. So
yeah, no, totally. Yeah, they'll get a tax receipt that they can use for their taxes.
Wonderful. So what geographic locations do you mainly cover, would you say?
So right now, like I said, we're a small nonprofit. We usually just cover the Salt Lake City, Salt Lake Valley, Salt Lake County kind of area. But so we have some families up in Kaysville, Bountiful, all the way down to Provo. So that's kind of our area. But most of our families and the kids we serve are here in Salt Lake. But yeah, or we also have families outside the state, but they're coming to Salt Lake to primaries or Shriners to get treatment. So we do have some out of state, but they're here getting treatment.
Okay. All right, perfect. And what would you say? So if someone were to see this video and they said, gosh, you know what, I've got someone who might be a good fit for your organization. We've touched on it a little bit, but what would you say would be the perfect kid that would fit this mold? Like, what is it that best seat in the house is really looking for?
Yeah. So, if anyone seeing this video has a family that comes in mind, you just have to go to our website and reach out to us. We have our emails there, and we have actually a page called Rory's Warriors. So Rory is our mascot, and we call our kids warriors because they're going through any they're going through all kinds of battles, whether it's cancer or living in poverty or any of their living conditions. So a family for more our VIP kind of experiences and stuff would be a family with a child with cancer or, cancer or life altering conditions is kind of the technical term we like to say, but, it could be in a wheelchair for a condition, cerebral palsy, muscular dystrophy, heart condition, kidneys, any medical condition that they're going through would be a perfect candidate for us. But also we do serve refugee kids and kids in poverty and special needs. And those, we'll get referrals to and we'll invite to our bigger events that serve those, that demographic. Like in a few weeks, 3 weeks-ish, I'm pretty excited. We're having our Christmas dinner for refugees and kids in poverty at Granite Park. And there we're going to be giving out meals. It'll be grab and go. So COVID, we're going to be in regulations, no, so there'll be social distancing and whatnot. But basically the families will come in, grab a dinner to go. Pepito Mos, Puerto Rican Grub, who's a huge partner of ours and donates money and time and food. They're donating all the meals. We should have 100 or 200 families show up. And then we'll give away toys and presents. They get to pick something out that they want. And any supplies we get before then that we can hand out. Like we have a couple hundred socks right now that we'll hand out. And I'm working on other things. But again, it'll be grab and go. They come in, grab their meal, grab their presents, any supplies that we're able to give to these families, and then they can go and have some presents for Christmas or the holidays, because a lot of them don't celebrate or don't follow Christmas. But anyway, they'll have gifts for the holidays and some supplies for the winter here. So I'm pretty excited about that. So we'll I don't know what the word is. We'll lead families to the right areas of where they fit.
Okay. Awesome. That's really good. So I'm assuming, obviously, Best Seat in the House is, you guys are still rocking and rolling. I see you guys have been doing some virtual events. Obviously, it's flipped upside down from in 2020, as with a lot of organizations and businesses and nonprofits. What do you have any plans over the next few months that you're currently planning, or are you still in sort of the mix of trying to figure some things out there?
So right now we have a Sub for Santa program going on that we have some families that will that need to be sponsored. So that's going on right now. And then, like I mentioned, the Christmas dinner that will be put on December 16th. But then January or February, we might do some more virtual events.
Okay.
But we have our big fundraiser February 10th. It'll be a virtual gala. A lot of nonprofits here have been doing it, and we're excited about that. So we're going to be focusing a lot of the next couple months in trying to get auction items, sponsors, donors to help us with this fundraiser, because this fundraiser helps give us resources for the whole year. So we use this one. We might do another one or two, depending on how we get out of COVID. But as of right now, that'll be a lot of our focus and work for February 10th, and we'll have some awesome videos of our families. A great program. We have MCs and some celebrities joining us to do some shout outs, and some musicians and artists. So it should be a fun time. But yeah, February 10th is it used to be called Dessert and Dinner. but now we're changing it to Hope and Joy Virtual Gala, because that's what our events bring to the kids, is just some hope and joy through their whatever battles they're going through. Our events are there to help bring back joy into their lives and keep them going. A lot of it might sound cheesy or whatnot, but I think the heart is like one of our strongest muscles. And I've seen so many kids go through hell, and heart has kept them going and kept them like, oh, excited for this or that. Keep them going, give them joy to like know that, yeah, they're fighting to stay alive or fighting to get through whatever they're trying to get through. That it's like, hey, there's some good stuff in this world too, that they can enjoy. It doesn't have to be 100% battle. It's like, hey, you get some time to enjoy life.
Man, I love it. I love the work that you're doing. And definitely shout out to FanX, shout out to Real Salt Lake. Who else do you want to shout out on this video? People that are doing some work with you.
Papito Mo's for sure. If you haven't had Puerto Rican food, I am Puerto Rican, and it's the only place in Salt Lake you can get this food. And well, you had it last year at our fundraiser.
Where are they located? What's the address?
It's in Salt Lake. It's right next to Nightmare on 13th. So like 13th and like 300 West. It's like right next door to Nightmare on 13th.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, they're amazing. So check them out if you want to try some new food. So good.
Awesome. Is there anybody else that you'd like to shout out as a partner or anything? I mean, you've got a lot of partners, so I mean, I'm putting you way on the spot. There's a ton of donors. There's a ton of partners. There's a lot of amazing people. Our man Ferris is obviously an important factor there. Any other thoughts there?
Yeah, Ferris doesn't like recognition at all, even though I try to give it to him. So we'll just say his first name, even though he doesn't want any recognition. He's awesome. But yeah, I mean, besides the ones we've mentioned, we're really thankful for Ronald McDonald House here and Granite Education Foundation and the Family Support Center, who we partner. There are three main partners that we do a lot of stuff with, and we couldn't reach as many families without them. And they're just great partners and collaborating on events. But yeah, so thankful for them being partners with us. And again, we have way more partners and donors that we don't want to take too much time, but those are some of our main ones. We're really thankful for them. And anyone that, reaches out and likes us on Facebook or shares our story or, donates $1, $5, $10, we don't have any staff. So all the money goes to the kids besides the federal and government regulations that we have to pay for permits and licenses and whatnot. But yeah,
and of course we can't forget to shout out our man John Absey. He's so awesome, and he's such a huge supporter of all things nonprofit, and so that's cool, man. So this is the best way to get a hold of you. Is that correct?
Yes, that's our website. That's the best way to find out more info for us and to get info from us. And also our Facebook is pretty active of upcoming events or past events with pictures and anything that we're asking for and need for. So those are our two best places to find us.
Okay, awesome. And people can donate there too as well. Is that correct?
Yep. There's a big donate button on it, just like any other nonprofit. Every page you get there's a donate button.
and there's no donation too small or too large, of course, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, we whatever resources we get, we'll use in creative ways and catering. Like, $5 or $10, we'll get a kid a scarf at a Real game that we take them to.
Cool.
Whereas $250 will pay for an entire event at Ronald McDonald House. So yeah, any amount is needed, and we use very creatively. Just because of my experience in nonprofits, I know ways to get discounts or things donated, and it really helps us get that dollar to stretch pretty far.
Well, the thing that's also amazing about you is that you've got a finance degree, so you've got more of a granular understanding of how to manage those dollars as they come through. And it can be challenging, as you know. So you're doing great work.
Yeah, that's with nonprofits, a big thing is the accounting and the finances of it. And there's a lot of awesome nonprofits that have great ideas and passions, but like you said, it's kind of a stumbling block for other nonprofits where it's not so much for us because of my background, and I can do all that, and I know what is needed for the government and state regulations, and make sure that we're all set there. So I'm thankful for that I have that.
Yeah,
I can bring that to the table, and like we don't really have to worry about it. I mean, I worry about it because I know what's needed, but my board and volunteers don't really need to worry about it because I got it taken care of.
Nice. So as we go to a close here, Ivan, I like to ask what is one of your favorite quotes, favorite songs, or both?
One of my favorite quotes, it's actually above my desk at Utah Youth Village. My coworker made an art wrap or something on it, but it says, shoot for the moon, because even if you miss, holy crap, you're in space. And it's always been my motto is go big or go home.
Yeah.
And, and sometimes our events don't go perfectly, or I have big ideas and they don't work out or anything like that. But we usually end up somewhere. It's like, whoa, that was pretty cool. That was pretty awesome. So I'm always shooting for the moon, because even if I miss, it's still, hey, I still made it to space, Not a lot of people make it to space. So that's kind of my mantra and quote that I love, that I get to see anytime I'm in the office. Like, oh yeah, keep shooting.
I love that. I really do. And will you do me a favor after this call and send me a text with that?
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. So Ivan, I sincerely appreciate being on the show today and spending some time telling us about your organization.
Oh no, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks. And thanks again for I know you'll continue to volunteer with us, and we love having you and your wife and your nieces at our events. And and thanks for your support always.
Absolutely, brother. I'm going to have you hang tight in the green room for a sec while I wrap this up, and we'll talk in a few. Is that cool?
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, my man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody.
So there you have it. Ivan Gonzalez with Best Seat in the House. Definitely check them out right there on their website. Learn all about them. They've always got some really cool things going on in the community. Ivan, like I said, he's got one of the biggest hearts of anybody I know. He's always involved, always trying to figure out a way to help and to assist, whether you're helping with his nonprofit or him with some other nonprofit. Get to know him. He's a stand-up guy. Love him to pieces. Thank you very much for joining us on Always the Journey TV. We sincerely appreciate your time, and we wish you a wonderful rest of your week. And don't forget to subscribe. Have an awesome day, you guys.